Let's welcome on board Kiran Mazumdar Shaw from Biocon. Lots to really talk about. Kiran, thanks so much for taking the time out and joining in. Morning, firstly. Now, there's been two news flows on the company right now. Start with the first one, which is you receiving the EIR for biologics drug product facility in Bangalore. What does it really mean for the company, and how does it really help in biologic growth?
Well, this was a surveillance audit that was conducted on our facilities in Bangalore. And of course, these are very important facilities because they are the ones who are really producing our biosimilar trastuzumab, biosimilar pegfilgrastim, and our insulins. So I think it was very important for us to go through with that particular audit successfully, and it was. So that's good news for us. And of course, it wasn't something that we were concerned about because it's already been an approved facility. I think what is important for our business going forward is that we expect expanded capacities for pegfilgrastim to kick in imminently. We also are looking forward to our launch in the US of biosimilar trastuzumab, which I think will, of course, be a very important growth driver for us for the rest of this year and going forward, because that's a very, very important molecule for us. And then going forward, of course, we are looking forward to having our Malaysia facility qualified, and then pursuant to that, our glargine approval for the US market. We also have, we are expecting to file our biosimilar bevacizumab dossier by the end of the year, which hopefully would then mean that we will get approval, sometime in FY21, late FY21, and we also are expecting to submit our dossier for, biosimilar aspart, which is the insulin analog in the US and in Europe in a short while. So I think lots of things happening in biosimilars, but more than anything else, I just want to make, one statement. Actually, Biocon is a very unique company in terms of biosimilars. We are very uniquely placed because we're the only company in terms of Biocon Biologics, which is solely focused on biosimilars and has a fully integrated end-to-end kind of capability base that allows us to basically just focus very comprehensively and in a way that allows us very strategically to play a leadership role. So we're really, really excited by this billion-dollar target that we believe is very achievable by FY22.
Take that point forward, Ms. Shaw. Sandoz received the US FDA approval for biosimilar pegfilgrastim, where Biocon also, as we understand, has presence in the market, has now become a three-player market. Help us understand, what does this really mean for pricing of the drug and the expansion from existing players via capacity expansion for biosimilar of the same particular drug?
Well, I think it's still a very attractive market for all of us. I think, having three players in the market is still not a very competitive landscape. I don't think any of the three players are going to play a price war game, because I think every one of these companies looks at the market opportunity in a very different way, in a very segmented way. I don't expect there to be a kind of a price war like you see in generics. You still have very few players in biosimilars. And therefore, I believe that this is a very important, I don't think the Sandoz entry anyway was expected. And I don't think it's going to really impact business in the way, you are basically asking me that question.
Globally, Ms. Shaw, the biosimilar market is very, very large, and that's where I think the tilt has been from the generic market. Do you think the biosimilar market, apart from size also, is in a sweet spot for next couple of years in order to understand the pricing and the margin? Or you think the biosimilar market, the opportunity is large, but it's too crowded, and as a result, pricing pressure could be intense there?
So, let me start by saying that over the next 10 years, about $280 billion worth of biosimilars will be available for basically development. Biocon itself is developing 28 biosimilar programs as we speak, of which already 11 are partnered with Mylan, a few with Sandoz, and the rest we expect to do on our own. So I think we expect that in the next 5 years, Biocon should be in the markets on its own, just like we've just entered the
We'll. Okay, I think we might have resumed the feed. Let me just check. Go ahead, Ms. Shaw. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think you're going to see the kind of, competitive landscape that you see in generics. I still believe that this is a very attractive market. This is a very important opportunity for companies that want to play in biosimilars, at least for the next 10 years.
Awesome. What about the launch of, and excuse my pronunciation, but trastuzumab? That's something that's keenly being watched. When can we expect that?
Well, certainly it's before the year end, because that's when Mylan is planning the launch. And this is certainly, as you just said, it's a very important launch for both of us. It's being keenly watched, and we are also very excited with this launch because we will be the first company launching both formulations of the product in the market. As you know, Amgen launched at risk with one formulation, which was really not the prevalent formulation. Biocon is, of course, approved for both formulations, and we will be the first to launch those formulations very shortly.
Are there any other launches as well that are lined up? And do you think that the second half of the year will also be led perhaps by new launches? Do you anticipate perhaps that we might actually see even more of a pickup on the back of that?
Well, trastuzumab is certainly a big molecule for us, and of course we expect some increased volumes for Fulphila or pegfilgrastim, and that's what we're really banking on for the second half of the year. And then, of course, moving ahead in FY21, we will focus very strongly on all the approvals that we've had, and we hope that insulin glargine will be added to that approval list. And I believe that then puts us into a very, very significant position in terms of biosimilars. And as I just mentioned, we have many dossier submissions, coming up very shortly. So I do believe that, the next, 5 years definitely is going to see a very robust, strong growth. And thereafter, as I mentioned, Biocon will also have its own presence in the marketplace. So it'll be able to retain all its profits. So I think it's a very exciting time for us for the next 10 years.
What is your view on the way of the generic pricing is going to move now? A lot of yes and no has happened. There's one school of thought which says Amazon is coming, so watch your back, generic pricing will never improve. Some are saying, look, generic pricing has to improve because companies are losing market share and it's no longer profitable. What are your thoughts?
So, different companies are pursuing different strategies. As you know, specialty generics is a very big opportunity. I think injectables are a very big opportunity. You also have heard about a number of drugs that are in the sort of scarcity mode. So that's offering different opportunities for companies. But I think having said that, yes, there are concerns around what is, whether it is going to commoditize because of companies like Amazon and others. But I personally believe that the people who are really going to suffer, I think, are the intermediaries. I think the PBMs and others are the ones who are really going to get affected, not the generic manufacturers per se. So I don't expect Indian companies to really feel the impact as much as the intermediaries who are involved in the generics business. So I think that's the disruption you're likely to see in the marketplace. But I think there's a huge opportunity for Indian generic players, because as these online, businesses start scaling up through Amazon and others, I think there's a huge opportunity for Indian companies, generic companies, to move into this business.
So, closing comments. We've often argued that what US FDA is doing in terms of scrutiny, are they being stringent or were they too lenient earlier? What is your view? I mean, why do you think big companies are finding it rather difficult to deal with US FDA regulations?
Well, I personally believe that, yes, I think the bar has been raised, and I think there is a lot of stringency around audit and inspection. As you know, a lot of articles and books being written about, non-compliances or poor compliance in companies outside the US, and that is actually getting the US FDA to be more forensic. So I think Indian companies just have to accept the way it is, and I think we have the capability to really overcome all these expectations of US FDA. And, I think India has a huge opportunity to lead the way in generics.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure and great to hear how things are progressing there at Biocon and what we can look forward to with regards to those launches and biologics. Good to have you with us.